it's a kind of a lost art, but like flipping over the record and reading the back of it and seeing who was involved with making a record.
Yes.
Right.
I loved it. Yeah.
There was a name that kept coming up on all the records I loved as I started to kind of have my own autonomy in what I liked. Right. There's the music you kind of absorb from your parents, the music you absorb from your environment, and then this is the music I started to love by myself, just on my own. And it was like Erasure, New Order, Depechemode, U2, Nine Inch Nails. All these things started popping up with the same name on them. It's this dude Flood.
Oh.
And his real name is Mark Ellis, a British dude. And then finding out more about him, which, you know, before the internet was hard to find out, you know, especially a British dude over, you know.
You had to go to like magazines.
You had to go hard to find out about that stuff. And so this dude's name kept coming to him and Alan Moulder, who's probably like his biggest collaborator. But it was like flipping over a record and seeing the name Flood on it, either as an engineer or then eventually as a producer. That was something that was like powerful for me because it was like, an engineer can have a path to being a producer. You can start with the passion about the sound and crafting the sound and then make a contribution to the music. You don't have to be the strongest musician to be a great producer.
Right.
You can be a strong engineer. And Flood was kind of the promise of that for me. And so, you know, this producer shout out straight up belongs to Flood, Mark Ellis, and, you know, honorable mention to Alan Moulder, but like, you're lucky in your lifetime if you get to make one truly great record.
Right.
You're even more lucky if you get to make one truly great record that stands the test of time and really rings the bell of the world. This dude made at least 3. Right. U2's Joshua Tree, Nine Inch Nails' Pretty Hate Machine, and Violator for Depechemode. Pound for pound, 3 of the best records in the history of recording.
As an engineer?
He was engineer and producer in some capacity on all of them. I think he was purely the engineer on Joshua Tree because that was Lanois and Eno and all like that. But again, something for the history books. But like, I mean, you're gonna produce young Trent Reznor? Like that dude had a vision. So you find the places where you fit in.
Right.
You know. But then by the time he was working with Depechemode, he was ready to say, hey, look, Depeche, we have a different approach to take. Let's do it different than you used to do it. And that was the thing that broke him open. And all of a sudden it was like, holy cow. It was Violator. Yeah, I mean, that record is unbelievable.
Right.
Sonically, performance-wise, songwriting, everybody pushed each other to another level. And I mean, I felt that way about Joshua Tree too. It was like Joshua Tree was like this sense of space and openness that the band requested of him. And he did it. He figured out how to create this intimacy, but still have it sound very open and spacious, like the desert, like the Joshua Tree itself. And then Pretty Hate Machine, what a handful of music that is.
Right.
Goodness gracious.
And so what is it about that particular sound on that album that or his contribution in particular that stands out to you?
I love the way they use distortion. I always love the way Nine Inch Nails uses distortion through all their records. Love, love, love. It's just, it's artful the way that Trent Reznor and all his collaborators have used distortion. Mm-hmm. But I think that record in particular, you know, it kind of fell into an era, category when we were coming up. I don't know if this is correct or not, but like we were coming up, we called that industrial. It was like industrial music or, you know, and it had this kind of hard edge, but it still had a passion and an emotion to the lyric and the, you know, very honest and pure lyrics with music that supported that.
Right.
And it wasn't like an overdriven guitar per se, or a aggressive drum beat or a loop or something. It was a combination of those things. And, you know, I love the way clean sounds layer on top of dirty sounds. And I think that record is a great example of doing that. It's just the passion in that record, the power of the performance in that record and the songwriting is fantastic.
And what about Violator?
Man, Violator is like the moment where So we talked about the juxtaposition of clean on top of dirty. That does it too. But it's the moment where you have the kind of programmed, sequenced, synthesized sound of Depeche Mode, that they were already a thing. Like they were not illegitimate before then.
No, of course.
But they have this live performance thing that they had been cultivating too. And I think Violator married those two things.
Like you have live guitars on top of drum machines, on top of synthesizers, and all.
Exactly. There's performances on top of these sequences and loops and modifications of loops, and there's a sound of a slide guitar and a scream at the same time, and he blended them together to sound like a, I think it's in Personal Jesus, there's this slide guitar that's also a scream, and the way they're blended together, you can't tell what it is. So this week's producer appreciation, producer shout out goes fully to Flood, and let this count as flipping over the record and seeing his name. If this is the first time, go dive in and listen to everything he did. Nights Are Ebb and Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Perhaps you've heard of Smashing Pumpkins. That's him. Like, the dude's work is deep. Go and dig it up and find it, and hopefully you'll love him like I do.